People on social media are like, well, actually, you know, he might have lost for France, but he won in life. Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg Podcast.
I'm Rose, also known as Cheap Lazy Vegan on YouTube.
And I'm Daniel, one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends who love to talk about the latest trending topics.
So get comfortable and join us while we give our savage take on just about everything.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the SaVeg Podcast.
Hey guys, we got lots of stories for you today.
We got lots of fucking stories.
Lots going on this week.
Lots going on, lots of news in the news cycle. But before we get started, we have a new Patreon to welcome, and we would like to say thanks to
Cece.
Thank you so much for joining our Patreon. Guys, if you don't know, our Patreon is always linked in the show notes and the description. Yep. And what do you get, Daniel? I have a slight hungover brain at this moment.
So basically, guys, you get every episode a week before everyone else. All the content on there is ad-free, and we do an exclusive episode every single month just for the Patreon community. What did we do last week or last month? It was dating.
Last month, I think we did dating advice, not dating stories.
Dating advice. So we do all kinds of cool exclusive episodes, and you get access to our whole exclusive episode library, so you can get caught up on all the other exclusive episodes as well. So go check it out, guys.
Yes, make sure you check it out, you guys.
Patreon.com/thesavagepodcast.
Yee. Okay, so do we just jump in? Like, what do we do?
I think we should just jump in because, we do have a funny story. Well, not a funny story.
Daniel, own up to your sayings, okay? God damn it.
Well, it's not a funny story, but
is it a funny story? Just say it's a funny story, okay. Daniel. Just be confident in your words, okay?
So I was training Rose yesterday on the weekend on how to bike ride. So we went for a little bike ride. And
I bought a bike.
Yeah, Rose bought a bike and was like, Daniel, I really want to go bike riding. So I was like, okay, cool. So we went, and I didn't realize, Rose just hasn't bike ridden a lot. So we kind of took it slow. I gave her some training.
Okay, first of all, he's making it sound like I don't know anything. Like, I've never been on a bike. Guys, I do know how to ride a bike. But yes, I'm not the best at bike riding. Continue.
Yeah. Generally, the stopping and starting was the hard part for you. Once you get it going, you seem to be okay.
Yes, once I get it going, I'm usually fine. Although
Sharp
I did
turns,
fall.
Yeah.
I did fall.
This is what I was going to get to. We're going up this hill, not this hill. We're going around a corner to this bridge, and all of a sudden I hear a scream, and I look behind me, and Rose has kind of tumbled with the bike, and I was like, "What is going on?"
Because the tire got
stuck.
So because I accidentally went off the path and onto the grass, and then the part where the grass and the path meet, there's like a little a sharper edge.
Yes.
So the tire got stuck there because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah. But we still had a great day, and it was super fun, right?
Yes, it was fun, Daniel. Don't look at me like a child, okay?
I know. Yeah, it was adorable. Oh, yeah.
Guys, I'm a little hungover, so I'm going to be a little extra bitchy today.
Oh, God.
So
today.
Don't piss me off, Daniel. Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, shall we talk about the interesting stories that are not so interesting?
I think there is. So basically the ones I picked, you're saying that they're not interesting.
No, I don't think you got the joke, Daniel. It's when you say, oh, I have a funny story, but it's not so funny.
I see. Yeah. Well, it was a funny story. Anyway, continuing on, guys.
Okay.
So what's this all about?
Well, so today we want to talk about the Olympics are going on right now, and there was some drama. There was, of course, as always nowadays. There's always drama surrounding everything. So one of the dramatic things that happened in the Olympics was that I guess they had this opening ceremony.
Yeah, which it's not. So we'll talk about what the controversy was, but the opening ceremony in general, there was a lot of performances, all kinds of dancing and all kinds of stuff, and a lot of it was not all of it, but there was definitely elements of LGBT. There was drag queen performers. There was some male ballet dancers that were in pretty scantily clad.
Did you watch these?
I saw part of it, where they had basically they in the river Seine or whatever.
Seine.
They had all these boats, and each of the boats that were going down the river would have like different countries and stuff on there.
Okay.
And then they'd also have like performance boats. One of them was really cool. It was like this, like, I don't know, this kind of flat platform that looked like, I don't know, and there was a guy playing a piano while there's like fire all around him and stuff.
Okay.
So there was some really cool things there. But because of all the like LGBT, I guess, performances and there was a lot of backlash around that. But then more specifically, there was one I don't even want to call it a performance. Well, it was a performance where they had like all of these kind of drag queens and LGBTQ plus people around this table with a platter with like a guy like on the platter. And the Christian community has really like, they were like, this
the
is
conservative community.
Yeah, they were like, this is a mockery
my God.
of the very famous Last Supper, right? Like they're saying, oh, this looks exactly like the Last Supper and blah 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 blah, and this is like against Christianity.
Okay, first of all, so like even if it was, it's like, get a grip. Like there's this is what really annoys me. Like these people, they're the same people that are like, oh, like you guys are so too woke. You're too offended by everything. Which you know, sometimes I do think yes, like nowadays some people get too offended by everything. For sure. But this is also an example. Like you are too offended by everything. Like who cares? It's a fucking stupid Olympic ceremony. Like what is that going to change? What is this going to affect? Like how is this going to affect your life? Anyways, but it wasn't even about the fucking Last Supper.
I know.
Even if it was, it wouldn't matter.
Well, and the interesting thing is the Olympic ceremony organizers or whatever have come back and been like, no, this was never the intention. It was not supposed to be the Last Supper. And actually they're referencing, like, I guess there was a tweet that happened during the whole ceremony thing that one of the creators said that actually, and this was before any of the backlash, right? This is before they had to, you know, defend themselves.
Oh, okay.
They had done a post that had said that it was supposed to derive parallels to like some kind of like Greek painting or picture or something, which they actually showed the picture and it was like very similar, and they made some other like comments about it. So like the actual original intention was never to be like the Last Supper anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And even if it was, again, like who the fuck gives a shit?
Yeah.
But it wasn't. Yeah. And like, you know, not everything is about Christianity. Like, you know, not everything's revolving around you. This is the Olympics, you know?
Don't tell that to the Christians, Rose. They be thinking everything. And then it's funny because like I saw a bunch of like, just like cringy people. So of course, you know, Andrew Tate.
Oh, is he even religious?
I don't even know if he's religious or not.
That man just won't leave this fucking.
He will not.
Leave.
Somebody like ship him to space or something. Seriously. Like get him off this planet. But he was like making comments about like, of course he has to do his like whole thing about how it's like against Christianity, and he's like, you know, no other religion. He's like, you know, but then he goes further to say all of you Christian people are being too weak, letting this slide. He's like, this mockery would never happen for other religions. It's just happening to Christianity because y'all are so weak.
What are we supposed to do? Fucking kill people? Like, what are people supposed to do here?
It's crazy to me.
Are you actually fucking kidding me? Like, what does that even mean?
I always think it's interesting, though.
People mock religions all the time. It's very normal.
It is. And the thing I find interesting about the Olympics is like every 4 years or whatever when it's held, every single year, whether it's like the opening ceremony, whether it's like that country's LGBTQ plus laws, this country's, there's always so much drama.
Even before the Olympics, right? Because like it's always, you know, the places where the Olympics are held, there's always like a bit of drama there because it's like some people don't want it there, and there's always so much drama. Yeah,
I remember when wasn't it in Rio a while ago, like in Brazil?
I think it was.
And then there was all this like controversy because like obviously Rio was like struggling but it wasn't necessarily struggling, but like they have a lot of economic issues there.
Yes.
And then they were putting all this money into all this infrastructure, and they were like, there was a big. I remember there was like. I wish I could remember the exact story, but it was about all of these facilities getting made and how like after the Olympics, they're probably never even going to be used again.
Usually it just sits there and you spend like billions of dollars. So a lot of people argue that Olympics isn't actually that helpful for the like
local
majority economy. Exactly. I mean, it does kind of like obviously does boost the economy at that moment.
Hotels are probably full.
Exactly. But
stuff.
For like regular people, it generally doesn't like do any good.
Yeah.
Especially like in a country like Brazil, for example, where there's like, you know, such an economic disparity that you could use that money to, you know, potentially help
people in the favelas, you know, like
I don't know,
all this.
like it's hard to say. Like I'm not against the Olympics, but also like I understand the perspective of, you know, those countries.
Have you heard about all this stuff too? Like, I don't know. I can't remember why they're doing this. Well, like they basically, a lot of the athletes, they get special beds, like these cardboard beds, so that they like apparently can't have like more than one person in the bed or something.
Oh, because they all fuck during the Olympics.
They don't
I
want
heard about
people,
this.
Yeah, they don't want too many people fucking.
Oh, because imagine we're talking about a bunch of young, attractive,
hot ass
very
people,
fit ass motherfuckers all over the world joining in one place. How long are the Olympics? Like a couple weeks?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I think so, something like this.
And then they're all just like staying in the same thing. Like it's like fucking college dorm, but like hotter and like successful people. Of course, you're gonna have sex.
Yeah. So then they like. So I keep seeing these like TikToks and stuff.
Why are they
like,
against people having sex? Though?
I don't know, because maybe they're like
performance.
Yeah. Well, they're like, ooh, if they're like having sex, they're not. Maybe they won't have like as much stamina for race day or whatever.
Well, that's their decision.
I know.
You know.
But they're representing their country, and their country's probably like,
oh, I
you know
see
what,
you're
Rose?
saying.
You
have to sleep on a cardboard box.
Exactly.
You better not be boning.
Exactly. Like, Rose, you are representing Korea here, and Korea's behind
Lord
you.
help Korea if I'm representing Korea.
If Rose is at the Olympics, oh God.
Oh God.
But you're right. Like, and it's funny because I also see all these like memes and stuff about like all these like really just hot men and women there. They're just like, oh my God. Like, you know, there was this one, it was like a group of the Italians on the swimming team, and they like posted a picture because I guess I think they won gold or something.
Italian men or women?
Men.
Of course.
And everyone was like, oh my God, these guys. And this one guy's like 6'3" or something.
Really? Italian?
Yeah. Just like fucking an Italian god.
Oh God.
And then another thing happened. I've been watching too much TikTok.
You've been into the Olympic stuff.
Well, I've been into some part of the some aspects of the Olympics.
The male athlete category.
There's this one French pole vaulter that the reason he's going viral is he was doing like the pole vault where you have to go over this bar.
Okay.
And he was like super, super close, but he, you know, they wear those tight spandex and stuff, and he has a really big package. So his like dick
package got in the way.
It hit the bar and knocked it off. Just his dick. So everyone's like, "Oh my God, he lost because he has a fucking huge dick."
Well, I call that a win.
I know, and then other people on social media are like, "Well, actually, you know, he might have lost for France, but he won in life." I was like, "Oh my God."
Oh my God.
There's actually a lot going on. There was another one with I can't remember who it was, but someone was like talking about like some of the men that were on swim team and diving, and you know, they were those tight ass little, you know, swimmers.
Yeah. And
there's like some of them have like pretty, you know, sizable packages, and everyone's like commenting.
There's a big bump there.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh my God, this guy's huge." And I love that people were putting in the comment section. They're like, "We love that." Well, you know, because women are always usually over sexualized.
Yeah.
But like, it's kind of nice that it's happening the other way, and like guys are now getting this.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But it was.
I feel like as a guy, like I would be. Like, obviously, you know, they're professional, they're swimmers, but like, God, I would feel so naked wearing like a
my
Speedo.
God, I know.
Like, that's just putting it all way out there.
Like, literally, you can see everything. But I mean, there's a big difference. Like, they could be a grower or a shower, you know? So, you know, but it is all there. Like, you can see everything.
Exactly. It's like a lot.
You ain't hiding anything.
Well, it's like a lot.
Do
you like the Speedo look, Daniel?
I don't, personally.
It's not a thing. Yeah.
Apparently, so a couple of my friends are like avid. They wear Speedos a lot. And they were like talking to me, and I was like, I remember I had a conversation with one of them, and I was like, what is with the Speedos? And they're like, Daniel, look, I wasn't big into wearing Speedos before until I actually started wearing them.
Why? Because it's more comfy.
Yeah, apparently it's really comfortable.
Because it just like keeps it all in one place.
Keeps it all together and keeps everything.
I can see it. I mean, I don't have a dick.
Yeah.
But I can see why, because it would just kind of like just tuck them in, you know.
It would, but then it's also like literally you're out there. And then what happens if like you're, you know, at a, you know, beach event?
You get a little bit too excited.
You get a little aroused. It's like
that. Maybe it still keeps it in its place though.
I don't know, Rose. Maybe
I don't know how tight are they. I've never worn a Speedo.
I remember I wore them like, I actually have some trauma with Speedos.
Oh God, what's your trauma?
Oh guys, okay, story time. So basically, when my parents first moved to Canada, like. Speedos were a bigger thing in Europe anyway.
Yeah.
And I had joined. This was like we'd been in Canada for a couple of years, and my parents got me in swimming lessons.
How old were you, Daniel?
I would have been like 5 or 6. I think.
So you've been in Canada for a while now.
Yeah. So no, we've been.
Didn't you move when you were 1?
2.
2. Oh,
so we've been in Canada 4 years.
Okay.
And anyway, my parents got me registered for swimming lessons, and they basically had got me like a Speedo.
Oh.
And so I was like little like 5, 6-year-old
so
me,
cute.
had my little Speedo. And then all the kids were wearing
made fun of you?
Yeah, they were wearing regular swim shorts.
No.
And they were like, ew, why are you wearing your underwear into the pool?
Oh.
Gross. And so I
God, kids are the worst.
So I went back to my parents crying and told them I needed a new swimsuit.
Oh, Daniel.
Yeah. And then my parents.
That's so heartbreaking.
I know. And then I've never worn a Speedo since.
Oh, so you have major trauma.
I have major trauma. And now I'm just like, I mean, I would wear a Speedo now, I guess. But
you really?
I don't
know. You're kind of shy.
I feel like, no, like, I mean, I think I could. It's just like, also, like, I have a pretty big butt. So I like don't know how that will work in the.
Oh my God. Way to compliment yourself there.
Wow.
I just got too much junk in the trunk, No way.
It's a problem for some of us, okay?
Mm-hmm. What's it like, Daniel?
Oh, I can tell you, my jeans always rip, Rose. It's not a fun situation.
Anyways. So that's one of the Olympic dramas.
Yeah.
People freaking out, like literally fucking losing their shit over the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. Yeah. Calm the fuck down, okay? Get a real problem.
Let's lose our shit about other things that are actually relevant.
Yes. Such as the presidential nominations.
The roller coaster that has been. You guys, honestly, I think I have to thank the United States for just giving us so much. It's like, who was I talking to the other day that I was just like, it's honestly like this reality TV show that you just can't look away from.
I know, you can't look away.
Every day there's like something new happening.
There's so much happening.
Yeah.
So basically, I don't know if, I know last time we were discussing like whether they actually picked... Because like, remember how we said that they still have to like be chosen?
Yeah. So Biden had endorsed Kamala.
Right.
Kamala.
Okay. I never know how to say it. I think it's Kamala actually.
Kamala. So Biden had endorsed her, which like does a lot. Everyone's like, but then she still has to get like elected or whatever. I think within the Democratic Party.
Yes.
And god damn.
Well, it says here in 2 weeks as the Democratic Party's presumptive nominee. So I don't think it's confirmed yet, but I do think she is probably going to end up being because
I think they still have to have that vote, don't they?
I think so.
Yeah.
So I don't actually know, but basically what we're seeing is she is leading in terms of like the polling data.
Yeah. I always wonder how they get that. So I guess they just ask general questions out to the population to say, who are you leaning towards voting?
Yeah, maybe.
And then they will get an idea.
Yeah, and it's changed like significantly, obviously, since like Joe Biden has like stepped out.
Yeah.
Now, some people say it could just be like, just because it's like so fresh. So because people were so against Biden running.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, all of a sudden they get overly excited over a new nomination.
But I think for somebody that's would be potentially a Democratic voter, again, I don't know too much about Kamala Harris, and I think, especially because she was VP, vice president for a while, working with Joe Biden. I mean, obviously I just didn't know too much about her policies, all that sort of thing. But
I don't know shit either.
I do think when you compare her to like Joe Biden, in a sense that like, you have somebody that was going to potentially like, getting senile, all this other stuff. It's kind of refreshing to have a candidate that's
I think that's
so
what it
young,
is. Exactly.
so full. And actually, one of the things I saw this recently about Kamala Harris, and this kind of is starting to make me, I need to learn more about her and what her, her policies are. But I saw a really, really good, and it might have gone viral a while ago, but I saw a really good debate that she was in when she was talking to somebody. I don't even know if it was a debate. And she was just like asking these old white men.
Yeah.
And she was like, are there any laws?
Yeah, I saw this too.
Yeah. So basically it's about the Roe versus Wade and all this stuff going on with abortion down in the States. And she goes to these men, she goes, are there any laws that restrict how does it go? Restrict
like male health choices or something like this.
Yeah, restrict something that you're able to do with your body, right? Restricts and then they were like, well, this is a very complicated, and she's like
yes or no.
She's like yes or no, and he's like, well, it's a very blah, and she's like, let me ask the question again. Is there any laws that do this? And they were like, no.
Yeah.
And she's like, this is exactly my point. Like, why are we putting this on women? So that part I was like, ooh, okay. And then also I actually happened to be watching randomly, I was watching RuPaul's Drag Race. And
what do you mean randomly, Daniel? You're a big fan. What are you talking about, Daniel?
I used to be a big fan. I don't really watch it that much anymore. But anyway, I was like watching a couple episodes, and she actually comes on there as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah, with a bunch of the drag queens. This is like an older thing.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. And she goes there and talks about like her and a bunch of other people that are like, well, she's not LGBTQ, but like a bunch of people that were also there. There was like a panel and they're all talking about voting.
Sure.
So I was like, oh, it's kind of like,
okay, so she's using that aspect.
She's using that aspect, but then it also makes me think that, you know, her policies would be more inclusive. And
I don't know. I mean, I do think obviously compared to like Trump, or even Biden, because he's like an old white man, you know. So I do think like, that's probably the case, but also at the same time, I do think it's like they kind of do this thing. All politicians do this, where they just like, especially in the Democratic party, because they always try to do like the whole like, I'm so woke. Look at me being friends with all these, you know, gay kids.
Marginal groups.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I do think it is probably gonna work. Especially because like Trump is so like extreme on the other side. And so I do think they've been doing a good job in terms of their campaigning. So I actually saw like when they first announced that Biden was dropping out and Kamala was like the potential nominee. Basically people were like, oh my God, the speculation, and I don't even know if it was a speculation. It was probably just more of a conspiracy. They're like, well, you know, it's really interesting, the timing of this whole thing. You know, Biden, this senile man that can barely like string a sentence together. You know, everyone's telling him to drop out. The conservatives are like loving it because they're like, fuck, we're gonna win this, you know, in a landslide. And basically, you know, they do this like horrible presidential debate where Biden looks completely incompetent. And then the Republicans have their like Republican convention where they like, you know, have all these Republican speakers and they're all like fucking talking about crazy nonsense. And the whole time they're like attacking Biden on how old he is. And like, that's their entire messaging. They're like, Biden is old. He's incapable, blah, blah, blah. And then right after that Republican convention, they're like, oh, Biden, he's dropping out. We're replacing him now with this young, vibrant Kamala Harris. So it's like, well, like now. What's your argument? Exactly. Now all of the focus and all the money and all of the ads spent on attacking Biden
and his age
goes to nothing. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I don't think that's actually, that was intentional. But if it was, that's very smart.
Do you want to know something funny about that Republican convention? Did we talk about this on the podcast?
No, I don't think so.
Oh my God, it's so funny. So
why are you crying, Daniel?
I don't know. My eyes just started watering.
Oh, God damn, Daniel. Did I make you say it?
You're making me emotional.
Oh, God. Why? I've never seen your eyes just randomly water.
I know, it's so weird. I think I don't know. Anyway.
Until we be getting old and our bodies be breaking.
God damn. But anyway, I'm not crying, guys. But so about this Republican, I don't know if it's like accurate, but I was like seeing all this like speculation that apparently the Grindr app. So Grindr is like this like gay hookup app.
Oh, I heard about this.
During the Republican convention.
Wait, did we talk about this?
I don't know if we did. Okay, we might have, guys. Sorry if we did, but I just like, it just made me think of it. So during this Republican convention, so keep in mind, obviously, Republicans generally, they're like not fans of the LGBTQ community. They're very like anti or like very homophobic. And it's funny that this gay hookup app, apparently it crashed in this city. Because of the conference.
So like, no, we didn't talk about this.
Yeah, so apparently there was like a big thing. I haven't confirmed it, guys, so I need to like look it up and stuff. But there was like rumors that the app in that area, because so many people were using it, that it just crashed.
That wouldn't surprise me one bit.
I was like, oh my God.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. And obviously there are Republicans that are like openly gay, but not that many. And a lot of them are like, you know, I'm sure there's tons that are fucking closeted as fuck.
I just think that's so sad nowadays. I'm like, you know, especially we live in the 21st century. I'm like, it's so sad that there's so many people, even here in Canada still. And Canada's more open-minded, but it's like there's still a lot of people that are in the closet. I'm just like, oh God, like, yeah, anyway.
Be crazy as hell. Goddamn, Daniel, what be happening here? We got some news from the UK.
From the UK. So this is actually really sad. So I don't remember if this was like, it was like a dance studio or something.
Okay.
And anyway, it was like a collection with like a bunch of like young girls.
Okay.
And I think it was some kind of dance performance or something. But anyway, a teen in the UK, they can't release his name right now because he's under the age of 18.
He's 17 years
old. Goes into this like dance. I can't remember if it's a dance studio or if it's it was a
summer vacation workshop.
Yeah, so it's like a summer vacation, and it was like a Taylor Swift themed summer holiday dance and yoga class.
Yeah,
so like a bunch of young girls and stuff. Anyway, this kid goes in there, 17-year-old, and goes on a freaking stabbing spree. Kills 3 of the little girls.
Oh my God.
A ton more are in critical care. I think there's a couple adults that might have been the teachers or whatever.
Yeah,
they're also in critical care. And it's crazy. Like they do know that like you know, knife violence is pretty bad in the UK.
It's pretty bad in the UK.
Yeah, like because they have stricter gun legislation.
Thank God for that.
I know.
Imagine if he had a gun.
Well, this is it. This is the whole thing. Like, obviously, knives are quite difficult. They're dangerous, but also they're really easy to get, right? Like, because you need them for cooking and stuff.
Sure.
So it's like really easy to obtain a knife, to be honest.
Yeah.
But when you think about it realistically, the damage that you can do with a knife, obviously you can definitely do terrible things. But I feel like it's harder to go on a stabbing spree.
It is.
Than to go on a shooting spree. Because a shooting spree, like, you could kill a lot of people. Like, a lot. And actually, it's harder for the police to obtain you as well because you can shoot at them.
Yeah.
Whereas with a knife, they can, like, easily shoot you down.
It's so stupid that we even have to explain that because it's literal common sense. Like,
I know.
If the guy had a gun versus a knife, I mean, obviously, he still did fucking damage. Like, he killed 3 girls.
Yeah.
5 girls and 2 adults are still in critical condition. So like he somehow did a fuck ton of damage.
Yeah.
But imagine if he had a gun, it would have been extra worse. But anyways.
Yeah.
So it's very sad. So I guess they had this is a big issue in the UK though, knife violence.
Yeah. And then they had actually, so after this happened, so this all happened like in July.
Right.
So it talks about like how the people were, basically 10 people were injured. And then there was a huge demonstration and there was a bunch of protests that took place. And they clashed with police outside a mosque in Southport on Tuesday.
Okay.
So there's like another area.
So like what was the protest for? It was, let's see. Far right demonstrators have launched several violent protests ostensibly in response to the attack, clashing with police outside a mosque. Oh, so was it a Muslim
They haven't released any of that information.
But why is it outside a mosque? Let's see here. A few hundred protesters hurled beer cans and flares near British Prime Minister Keir Starmer's. By the way, I don't know who the fuck the British Prime Minister is now.
No.
Downing Street residence in central London on Wednesday evening. Okay, I just really want to know what they're protesting. I knew it. I fucking knew it. It's about immigrants. So the far right, because they want to blame everything on immigrants. Mm-hmm. And again, we don't know. It could have been an immigrant, but even if it was fucking immigrants, it could have been anyone. Yeah. Like, just because one immigrant did... Again, we don't even know if it's an immigrant. Yeah. But if it was an immigrant and they did happen to do this, okay. But also, it's like, that's one person. He just happened to be an immigrant. It doesn't... Anyways. The far right groups seek to stir anger over an attack they have sought to link without evidence to immigrants.
Yeah. So they're reaching at straws here. They're saying, there was a stabbing, had to have been an immigrant.
Oh my God.
Let's start doing a protest.
Yeah, because non-British people never stab people.
Yeah.
Like absolute nonsense.
It's crazy. So they were like, I guess they were like hurling a bunch of stuff at police, and it's getting...
It is getting wild in the UK.
It's
okay.
It could be scary.
It's giving America a name. What do you call it? Something a run for its money.
Yeah. The funny thing is, I always think about this and how scary it would be if imagine you're just you're going for a walk through downtown or something, and all of a sudden you end up in the middle of this violent protest.
Oh my God.
With all this shit happening, and I would freak out. I'd be like,
oh yeah,
what the
for
fuck?
Sure.
It would be scary.
It would be fucking scary.
I would be walking the other way fast.
I think you'd freak out more than me.
I would be like, get me out of here. I'm too beautiful for damage.
When Daniel and I are when we're walking on the street and there's someone kind of looking shady, Daniel gets immediately scared. It's very cute.
It's not that I get scared. I'm just I get on edge because I'm
very much on edge.
I'm just okay, I have to be kind of more heightened right now because who knows what could happen, because people at the end of the day, everyone is unpredictable, but people in general are just unpredictable. So you never know. And I think it's better to be that way than end up,
Well, and then you get drunk and then get robbed on the street.
This is true. Well, I mean, that's under the influence, Rose. Well, and we wasn't talking about that.
No, we wasn't, but maybe we should be.
Speaking of fun topics.
You guys know this is the Doom and Gloom podcast. So I saw earlier in July 22nd.
Officially.
Apparently was the Earth's hottest day on record.
So I wonder if the way they calculate is that's just the average temperature across the entire globe on that day.
Let's see here. So July 22nd, 2024 was the hottest day on record according to a NASA analysis of global daily temperature data. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I think they probably looked at everything and then I don't know, did some kind of some kind of calculation.
Yeah.
July 21st and 23rd of this year also exceeded the previous daily record.
So
basically,
July 21st and 23rd already were more, but July 22nd was even more than that.
Yes, exactly. So we're all like, basically we're just, and the previous daily record was set in July 2023.
Yeah.
So we're constantly breaking the record.
Yeah.
Which is a very bad sign. These record-breaking temperatures are part of a long-term warming trend driven by human activities, primarily the emission of greenhouse gases. As part of its mission to expand our understanding of Earth, NASA collects critical long-term observations of our changing planet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, it's interesting because like even for us during that week, I know that July that week was exceptionally hot for us.
Right.
And
the entire July was kind of hot.
The entire July was scorching.
Yeah, yeah.
Like we had weeks of like 35, 36 degrees.
Yeah.
It was insane. And then our challenge that we're facing is because of this. So this has now become a trend every single summer that because of the hot temperatures that we have, like I guess the local flora can't like handle this like such intense heat for such periods of time, because what happens is it really dries out our forests. So we have these extended periods of time, because in the past it would be like occasionally we get like one day that was like a record breaking day for us and it would be like super hot. Yeah. And then the rest of the summer we'd get like kind of nice days and but it would never be like consistently weeks and weeks of over 30, Yeah. And now that that's happening, it's like exponentially increase like the number of fires that we're getting, like the forest fires. Yeah,
they're happening every year now.
Every single summer now, guys. For us, we're like smothered in smoke. Like it's crazy. Like our whole city will be covered in smoke for like days and days and days. And it's just and I remember when it started happening, it was kind of like I recall coming back one summer while I was still living in the UK. It might have been 2018, 2019, something like this. And I remember that summer there was a day or two that were kind of smoky, and all of us were freaking out. We're like, because it didn't happen that often, right? But we had so much forest fire smoke.
Yeah.
And then since I've moved back, every single summer's been like that.
It's been bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's just going to be the new normal, because I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. Oh God!
It seems like it's getting hotter, but the scary thing is, and we talked about this before, is it's like that kind of like snowball analogy where as it's moving down the hill, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, faster and faster. So like, we might have been just like slowly, and now it's really starting to like uptick.
Yeah. That's what they're saying. It's kind of got to. I think it's almost to the point of no return. Damn, I don't really know.
That'd be scary as hell.
God damn, Dana, how do we change it?
We keep talking about the point of no return, and it.
Oh no.
We might not be returning from it.
Oh God.
Yeah.
I don't know, you guys. It's scary.
It is scary.
We don't know what's gonna happen. Have you seen An Inconvenient Truth? That movie with Al Gore.
Oh, that's from
this is from a long time.
That's like from the
ago.
90s, right?
I think maybe like late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, we should rewatch it.
We should rewatch it. But it's probably like by 2023, Manhattan will be wiped out or something.
Well, this is the thing that people jump on about these like global warming stuff. Like they're always jump on the like facts where scientists are like, oh, we predict that this could happen by this date, right?
Yeah.
But like any prediction, guys, like there's going to be some variability, obviously, and you can't perfectly predict the future.
Yeah.
And yet people will harp on it because you're right.
And then they'll be like, it's not real. Climate change isn't real.
Exactly.
They said that Earth would be like blah, blah, blah by this time.
Exactly. Oh, they said Al Gore in his 1990 documentary said that Manhattan would be underwater at this time. It's not underwater yet. And actually, like, it's just crazy. Like, already some places have had to start building like flood protections and all this kind of stuff. Like, so it is happening. It's just, it's not happening exactly as maybe some scientists had predicted, right? But
maybe it is, we're just kind of coming up with strategies to kind of mitigate the, like, for example, building things to prevent flooding.
Exactly.
Which is good, but how much more can we build? How much more can we do?
Exactly.
To like stop this climate change situation.
And I think there's a limit as well, right? Like there's a limit in a sense that like if the sea levels rise to a certain amount, like so much flood barriers are not.
Do you think it'll help though that like, you know how like people, especially in developed countries, are having less children? So the population growth potentially, what do you think?
I think the problem
isn't the number of people, it's the small amount of people that are using all the fucking energy.
It's partly that, right? So you have a small group that's using so much resources and huge carbon footprint. Then you have this other population that's not. But then the thing that's really shifting, I think, now, and it's not to point blame. Everybody's at blame here, guys, like the whole world. But especially in like more developed countries, as their standard of living is increasing,
right?
They're starting to live a more kind of like,
you mean in like China and stuff?
Exactly. Like they're saying, like, especially like in China, which is, it's a positive thing that people's quality of life is going up there. But then at the same time, you're getting a lot of these people that didn't have a lot of money before that have a lot now, traveling more,
eating way too much meat.
Meat's becoming huge in a lot of these.
It's a big problem.
Exactly, because before meat might have been like a luxury.
Yeah.
And now that you're rich,
and it's like a status symbol.
Exactly. And now that you get to a certain status within these countries, you're like, great, I'm just going to eat meat every single day.
Yeah.
So and because their populations are so much larger in some of these countries, like, you know, India and China have like, what is it? A third of the world's population.
A shit ton of people.
So if you have that many people starting to use the same number of resources as we are in Western world, it's gonna be a problem. It's gonna be and we in the Western world need to figure out how to keep reducing how much we're doing as well. So it's a crazy situation, and I don't think I think there might be something with us having less children that might help a little bit. Yeah. But I think it's negated by the fact of you have these other countries where the middle class is growing.
Are they having more children, you think? In China? I thought they were having like a crisis of there's too many men.
Yeah. So in some countries they're not, but then some countries are having population explosions.
But are they the countries that would use a lot of the resources? I don't know. I'm just trying to be hopeful over here.
Well, I love your optimism, Liz, because I do not feel, as you guys all know on this podcast, I wish I was more optimistic about this situation. I generally am usually an optimistic person. I think the reason that I feel very scared about this stuff is only because in order for us to make real change in terms of the way this graphs are going, is we as a collective society, every single country has to agree
to do something,
and has to take part.
Yeah.
And when is that ever going to happen?
Oh, God.
You know, you're always going to have countries that are not going to want to do their part, or they're not going to want to do it for whatever reason. And I want to be hopeful. I feel like it's going to take a lot more crisis happening before people are like, actually, shit, we need to do something here.
Oh, God. But even then,
I know.
Damn.
Probably still not. They'll be like, oh, the New York.
Like, we got to make money somehow.
Exactly. It's all about the money.
It's all about the fucking
Everybody
money.
Everybody needs the money.
Oh. Oh my God. So speaking of money and people doing things for money, I saw this story, which is absolutely fucking crazy. So I guess, oh my God, it's actually fucking insane. Is this actually true? Anyway, so I saw this story. It said that a 24-year-old died during a 10-hour food binge on a live stream. So this is like in China. I think she was a Chinese creator. Mm-hmm. So she's like an eater. What do you call it?
10 hours of binge eating.
That's absolutely insane. So basically,
how can you even physically do that?
I guess you can't. It says dangers of extreme eating has once again hit the headlines following the tragic news that a 24-year-old died while live streaming a 10-hour food binge. So this is a Chinese content creator, Pan Xiaoting, died from a suspected stomach tear after consuming 122 pounds of food. Guys, that is me.
Oh my God. That is
me worth of food.
So like it would be like if someone ate you.
Yeah. Absolutely. I did not read that before. Her stomach had become severely deformed and filled with undigested food, according to autopsy results, suggesting that her stomach could have burst, causing stomach acid and food to leak into her abdomen.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
It's just sounding horrible.
So she became famous in China because of her live streams, during which she would eat massive amounts of seafood and chocolate cake, among other items on camera. Clearly a massive, like literally a human being's amount of food.
Yeah.
It had been reported that she was hospitalized after suffering gastric bleeding from overeating, but it is believed she returned to binging on food just one day after being discharged from the hospital. This is what happened. This is the problem with like doing anything for money.
Yeah.
Like it's like what is the point? Like to the point where you are literally killing yourself.
Exactly.
And
at
even
that
if
point,
you don't,
money doesn't matter.
money doesn't matter at all. You're dead.
Exactly. Like, I'm sorry, guys, but at the end of the day, you know, we come into this world, or we leave this earth the way that we came into it with nothing.
Oh, God damn, Daniel.
You know what I mean? So even if you saved up a ton of money, even you did all this shit, once you did, that money gone.
That money gone. You're not going to care because you be dead.
Exactly. So like doing this kind of stuff, this extreme eating, and we've seen like YouTubers and stuff that have gone and done mukbangs and exploded in terms of weight. And
I wonder who you're talking about, Daniel.
My favorite mukbanger. But the detrimental and long-term impacts that you're doing on your body from doing that, if not potentially killing yourself, like it's just not worth it. Like
this is the extreme example.
Exactly. Like if someone's like, hey, Daniel, you know what? I will pay you $3 million a year to do these crazy mukbangs.
You wouldn't be tempted?
I would not.
God damn.
I would be like, no.
What about for 1 year, Daniel?
No. You know how much irreversible damage you can do in that much time?
Yeah.
Like if Super Size Me taught me anything, it's like 1 month of shitty eating like that.
Yeah.
And it took him.
But did you know though? Do you know the story of that guy?
Mm-hmm.
You know he died, like somewhat recently.
When did he die?
Like he died like a few months ago.
Maybe
I think from some kind of illness.
Maybe I did hear about this.
But he says so. Again, I'm not saying eating McDonald's is good.
Yeah.
But with Super Size Me, apparently Morgan was like the guy that made the movie.
Yeah.
Apparently he was like an alcoholic throughout like most of his adult life. So a lot of people are saying like he was probably still getting, and even in that movie he said he wasn't drinking, but people are saying like he was probably drinking, because like at the end of the thing his liver was like, he was like, the doctor was basically saying your liver is of you know,
a heavy drinker.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So people are saying it was a little bit, they don't really believe that it was necessarily true results. But anyways, besides the point.
Yeah.
Either way, he obviously, you obviously would still do a lot of damage if you're overeating, binging every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And
eating 122 pounds of food.
Oh my God, that is absolutely, I don't even know how that's physically even possible up to that point.
I know this, but I don't get, because like there's been times where, you know, I've, you know, had a little and you get the munchies, and then I might binge eat, and I might binge eat quite a lot. But then I get to the point where I physically feel sick, even in my like stoned state.
Sure. Yeah.
And I actually feel sick. Too. Like I might be sick, and I'm like, okay, I can't eat anymore. Like I physically cannot eat anymore because I will actually throw up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, how do you eat 122 pounds? I would have been thrown up by then.
Maybe she does throw up.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know, 10 hours, you got to go to the bathroom at some point.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't think you could like.
Imagine just how uncomfortable it would feel.
Oh my God, I actually don't understand.
Like it would just feel, because you know when you eat too much food, like you do feel like
you feel sick.
Your stomach just feels gross, and you just feel like not great.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
But yeah, this person was not the first creator who lost their life at a tragically young age as a result of eating for views. There was a TikTok star, Taylor Bryce Lejeune, also known as Waffler69, who had 1.7 million followers on the platform, who died from a suspected heart attack. So, and he was eating like a lot of unhealthy food, like, you know, consuming just like, you know, stuff every day for views and stuff like that.
He was only 33 when he died.
He was 33 years old.
Yeah.
You know,
they're saying this trend from like mukbang, and these people that are, you know, following it and stuff, it's becoming increasingly extreme, right? Because, you know,
because human beings, we want to see extreme things.
Exactly. And the nature of it is like, okay, at first an extreme might have been sitting there and having, you know, 6 or 7 Big Macs, you know, and you're like, whoa, this is crazy. But then once you've seen it a couple times, you're like, okay, cool. I've seen you eat 6 or 7 Big Macs. Now let's see you eat 30.
Exactly.
And then you see them eat 30, and then you're like, okay, that was cool. And I watched it that time. Now let's do 60. Can you do 60 dipped in fucking cheese sauce and like fucking whatever? And it's like, it will never be good enough.
What about people that do like speed eating or those like competitive eating,
like hot dog eating contests?
Oh, I'm sorry, I will never understand the appeal like of doing it, of watching it. It's like a big thing.
I know.
And it's not even, they're not even enjoying it. They're literally just shoving food in their mouth like so fucking crazy fast.
Yeah.
And you can't even, like, you're just like, you're literally like choking and like not enjoying yourself. Like,
exactly.
At least with mukbang, it's like, you know, they at least look like they're enjoying their food most of the time.
They're like eating it.
Yeah, they're like, it's delicious. Whereas like a hot dog eating contest,
they're just like,
I wonder how many people die doing that shit.
Probably a lot. Like,
because you're gonna choke and die.
Exactly. Like the thing is, like, what are you doing, first of all?
Oh, it's just so wrong.
But they're really big at like county fairs and stuff.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird thing.
It's like a big thing. Like I always like envision, like, especially in America, like a county fair where you have like a pie baking contest.
Yes,
where
or
everyone,
pie eating contest too.
Where everyone brings their like famous, Aunt Shirley brings her like blueberry pie, and then everyone has a piece and judges which is the best pie.
That sounds so American.
I know. And then you have like the Ferris wheel, you got the cotton candy stand, and then of course you have the hot dog eating contest.
Yeah.
Where you have like people lined up, and then they have like, I don't know, 100 hot dogs in each in front of them, and you see who can eat them all the fastest. And I'm like, honestly,
it's so wrong.
Like I think to myself how sick I would feel after if I even partook in that.
Yeah.
And how gross it would be.
And also, it's just like, there's something wrong about wasting so much food. It's like you're not eating for necessity. You're literally eating for, I don't know, attention, money, views. I don't know what you're doing.
It's crazy. It's actually crazy.
It's just like you're wasting all that food that's so unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's just so, I don't know. It's just like icky. It's just like, there's starving kids out there and you're shoving in 30 hot dogs in your fucking mouth that you're not even enjoying, that you're probably going to go and puke later on. I don't know. It's gross.
Damn, people just be shoving wieners in their mouth.
Oh, look. Perhaps the most well-known mukbanger on YouTube is Nicholas Perry, better known as Nicocado Avocado, to his 3.8 million YouTube followers.
That's insane.
I wonder if he's still making videos.
I don't know. However, this is funny. So when he started his YouTube channel, the then vegan content creator weighed about 160 pounds.
Which is quite skinny.
Less than me.
Yeah.
However, he ditched his plant-based diet and started filming himself consuming huge amounts, usually junk food, including massive platters of burgers.
Oh, my God.
The 32-year-old from Pennsylvania is now reported to weigh around 350 pounds, gaining almost 200 pounds over the last few years.
Oh, my God.
That's
350 pounds?
Well, I remember him posting all those videos being like, am I 350 pounds yet? I want to check. And I'm like, oh, so gross.
God.
Yeah. But he's a multimillionaire now from it.
Again, not worth it.
It's
not
definitely
worth it.
Literally, guys, I will not do that.
Like, imagine weighing 350 pounds.
I can't.
Like, even if I gain like 20 pounds, I think I would feel really uncomfortable just physically. So imagine just putting on an extra like 100, 200 pounds on your like body right now. Just fucking insane.
I mean, it's a lot.
You can't even do anything. You can barely travel. Like, so what are you doing with all the money? Like,
exactly.
I don't understand. Like, you're a multimillionaire, but you could probably not fit on a regular plane seat. I guess you have money to buy 2 plane seats.
You'll have to
maybe.
buy 2 now.
You can barely move. You can't enjoy life. You probably have trouble sleeping.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
It's crazy. I will never get it.
Oh,
oh God.
There's photos.
Look at him before.
I know.
It's crazy, guys.
Oh God. There's another girl that's kind of going viral on TikTok right now. And people are saying she's like the next Nicocado Avocado.
Yeah.
Because like this girl, her name's like Jelly Bean Sweets or something. And she's like, clearly she's been doing videos, I don't know, for maybe a couple years. And you could clearly see she's gained weight. Like not extreme, but she's definitely gained like a good, maybe at least 20 to 30 pounds.
Yeah.
And like every day she's posting like multiple mukbangs a day.
Ugh.
And she's eating like, it's always like some kind of fast food. It's usually like Taco Bell or like Chipotle or something. Yeah. It'll be like a burrito. And she's like eating this burrito. But I actually think she's spitting it out. Yeah. Because she'll like bite into like a burrito. She'll chew it, bite another bite, chew it again, and just keep biting. And then there's like a cut before she like swallows. Yeah. And then she moves on to the next bite. So I don't know. But anyway. Yeah. So some people are saying like, oh, she's like damaging herself for views and blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, fuck.
It's so toxic.
It's so fucking toxic.
It's toxic. It's really bad for you. Like, I know that you sometimes make mukbangs, but they're like normal. It's like, it will be like a normal plate of food.
Well, usually it's a little more, but like I never like eat extra to the point where I'm like making myself sick. Exactly.
Like if you think about it, even if you did, like, let's say you started a mukbang channel, and even if you did 1 video a week, which you'd probably have to do more than that anyway, because most channels will do at least.
These people are doing like 1 a fucking day.
I know. But oh God, can you imagine?
And what sucks is like usually the junk food and the unhealthy food is what gets more views.
Of course.
So it's like, it's a slippery slope when you start doing that content like on as your regular content.
Yeah.
Because then you'd be like, oh, it's just this one time I'll have some pizzas.
Yeah.
And then
it gets so many views. You make so much money from that video. You're like, shit, I need to do another one like this.
Yeah.
But even if you did that once a week, let's say you did one video a week like that, you would still in your week be so over on your calories.
Yeah, that's true. Because you're eating a shit ton.
Exactly. That one day, I mean, I don't know how many calories, like 10,000 in one sitting probably.
Oh God. Well,
it would be a lot.
If you can eat that much.
Yeah.
That's too much.
It's crazy. And so no matter what, it would be inevitable unless you're on some fucking crazy fitness regime. But even still, like even once a week, you'd still gain.
Yeah, totally. You'd have to do a shit ton of exercise to even try to offset it a little bit. Anyway, so God, what? Okay, so the lady that died, right? That's the lady, Pan Siu Ting.
Yeah.
It has been reported that she weighed around 660 pounds at the time of her death. Are you fucking kidding me?
I kind of feel like in some ways, everyone will be like to each their own or whatever, but like by us
watching,
by maybe not by watching, but like by those videos not being taken down and people watching them.
Yeah.
It's like we're almost reinforcing that behavior.
We're reinforcing it. Of course we are. People, the fact that we're clicking on these videos, watching them, commenting on them, liking them, subscribing, that's reinforcing the behavior, right? Because like obviously if the demand isn't there, they're not going to make it. But because this is how they get view, they get money because they're getting views.
Yeah.
So we are like, by people following and watching, and like I don't necessarily blame people because it's like obviously like weird and fascinating and like what the fuck is going on. But by watching it, we are enforcing it.
True.
But ultimately, they should decide to stop fucking doing it.
I know.
Because there are people that have quit mukbang because they're like, oh my God, I can tell it's like not good for me.
It's not good for my health.
Or like just start eating healthy or like do something healthy. Like I would, if I was one of these people that has gained like 100 pounds, I would be like, well, now I'm on my weight loss journey.
Yeah, exactly.
That would get so many views.
100%.
Because then it would be like, oh, now I'm eating healthy food. Like here's how I'm losing weight.
Get fit with Rose.
Yeah, exactly.
And you could be like showing your journey of me losing 100 pounds. Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, I'd watch
See,
that
this is
shit.
Nick. If you're watching our show, that should be your next.
That's what everyone's saying to him as well. They're like, you should just lose the weight. But I think at that point, it's like if you've been eating so much junk food, you also get addicted to the food, and then it's like it's gonna be so hard to like just completely like. You know, or at least like try to cut it out.
Well, exactly.
That's another problem.
Because this is the thing about junk food is, I mean, it is good. It tastes so good. Like there's chemicals in there. There's like grease and stuff that our bodies just like fucking love.
Yeah.
And so by us doing that and eating that food on such a regular basis in huge quantities, you're right. He'll go into like
regular
withdrawals.
food's gonna be like so bland and boring.
You're gonna be like, oh, I don't want to eat this.
Imagine eating broccoli after eating fucking like Burger King and McDonald's
every
all
day,
day, every day. It's like, okay, you're gonna feel like regular food doesn't taste good.
Exactly.
Oh. Anyways, okay, so this story. So I guess Elon Musk, this crazy man.
Yeah.
This man is unhinged. Anyways,
I hate him.
I really do. I really feel
I dislike Mr. Musk.
He's very like, I feel like there's like a cult following. Like some men, like some men are like obsessed with him, and I'm like, why?
I feel like that's a red flag.
It's that's up there with listening to Joe Rogan every day.
Oh yeah, or like being subscribing to Andrew Tate.
Exactly.
Like no.
Like if a man is like obsessed with Elon, like if he doesn't know much about Elon Musk and it's just like, oh yeah, great, okay, then fine, whatever.
Yeah, but if he's like obsessed,
it's time for me to educate you. But if he's like obsessed, you're like, what the fuck's wrong with you?
Well, because people are like, oh, he's game changing, blah 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 blah. I'm like, he came from a super wealthy family. Yes. He's had everything handed to him. He's he has
a team of people working with him.
Exactly.
I don't really believe that he's.
No, and this is what people forget. Like they say that these people, like, and I'm not discrediting that some of these people that are there, they might be smart, they might have some good ideas.
They might have good business sense.
Exactly, they might have good business sense. But best believe that they also have a team of people that they work with. Like not one person. Even like everyone's like, oh, Steve Jobs when Apple and stuff. He's like, oh my god, and Bill Gates and all this. It's like it's like they had a good business idea, but they also had a team that worked with them.
Yeah,
it looked like look at that Facebook documentary with Mark Zuckerberg where it was like showed. It wasn't just him. Like he had the original idea.
Yeah. But
then he works with a team to fine tune it, to make these decisions. One person can't just do it all.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. So Musk, he was like in some kind of interview. Oh, I think he was being interviewed by Jordan Peterson, of course.
Of course.
I think it was.
Another one of our favorites.
Another. Yeah, exactly. So who, by the way, is also like very, obsessed with trans people and trans kids.
Yeah.
I don't know what this obsession is. Okay. Anyway, so Musk basically said, so I guess one of his children, I think he has like a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
One of his children is, I guess, trans. And he basically was like, I lost my son to the, he called it a woke mind virus.
Yes.
Oh my God. It's actually so cringe.
Yeah.
So Tesla's CEO, Elon Musk, said his estranged transgender daughter was killed by the woke mind virus after he was tricked into agreeing to gender affirming care procedures.
Yeah. Yeah, it was Dr. Jordan Peterson.
Oh God. So basically, let's see here. The ex-owner called gender reassignment surgery, child mutilation, and sterilization. He then discussed his 20-year-old child, Vivian Jenna Wilson, who he said underwent the procedures during the pandemic. So he said, I was essentially tricked into signing documents for one of my older boys. This was really before I had any understanding of what was going on. And we had COVID going on. And there was okay, I'm sorry. First of all, I was told that my child might commit suicide. First of all, like, I don't know how he was like tricked into signing the document. It's like, did you not have a full, this show, like, I'm like, were you even involved in your child's life? Because news says, sources say you weren't. Yeah. So you probably were just like, oh great, like, let me just sign it. Here you go. I
guarantee, this is the thing too. You're right. He's probably one of those parents that was like, that's, you know, busy, always working. Exactly. So he's probably never around, and then occasionally quickly needs to sign something. Oh yeah,
we're talking about gender reassignment. That's a pretty big topic. You might want to read the fucking you know, fine print.
I have an X meeting I need to go to.
So. I'm busy changing the name of Twitter to X, so we're gonna have to just do this quick.
Yeah.
So basically, like, I guess the process is done to children who are far below the age of consent. I don't know where this is coming from.
Yeah.
And
well, because I think when he said that below the age of consent, so I think the age of consent is 18, right?
Right.
So he's referring to like those families and, you know, kids where they do get gender reaffirming surgery, but like really young in life.
Are we talking about like the full on surgery? Are we talking about
hormones?
Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah.
Because like I do kind of, there's a part of me that agrees that, like, you know, there needs to be lots of checks and balances in place.
Yeah.
And like maybe, and there needs to be like a huge amount of, you know, like consultations and stuff, especially for kids that are young, because obviously, you know, kids are, you know, crazy, they're hormonal, like whatever.
Exactly.
But at the same time, like I feel like these people are stretching it and they're making it seem like it's just happening to everyone.
Yeah, all kids are going through this.
All kids want to be transgender. Like, it's just not as big of a problem as they're making it seem. And as far as we know, Elon Musk's daughter, like trans daughter, is trans. Yeah. So like fucking she's trans.
Exactly.
Like, it's not like she was like, oh, I'm actually not trans. But they, like, you know, made me trans and now I have to detransition.
Exactly.
Like, she's still trans.
Yeah, exactly. I do agree. I think the media or these right wingers especially, they like blow this out of proportion to be like, all people that are doing this, you know, it's crazy. Like, young kids are just influenced by, you know, woke culture and are just deciding to do this, which, you know, because they'll see some stories of people that maybe have transitioned and then transitioned back because they were like, oh, I realized that I was confused and I didn't want to do this, which does happen. But I would say that's like the small minority when we look at the numbers.
Yeah.
And people focus on those people, right? Obviously, it's like with veganism. You have somebody that stops being a vegan. All of a sudden, everyone's like, oh, this is why veganism is bad. This one person out of, you know, a million people. And they focus on that one person where it's like, there's actually a lot of other people where this actually was life-changing for them, you know? So
exactly.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I do think there needs to be checks and balances in place, because I agree, like, looking back when I was a teenager, I was hormonal and all over the place as well. But like, that's not to discredit people's experience and how they're feeling. Yeah. But, you know, especially certain things like maybe irreversible surgery. Well, I guess they're all reversible kind of to a degree, but like,
certain things that are really going to do, like, that are going to be hard to reverse, I guess.
Exactly. Like, I think the full surgery, like downstairs. I think maybe like, I don't know what the, you know, what the rules should be.
It's hard to say though, because on one hand, like we said, you know, when you're young, you don't really know what you want. I agree with that aspect. And another hand, it's like, you know, that when they start things early, they're going to be able to pass a lot easier. Yeah. Because like, we know, like, we've seen people that are trans that like started maybe hormone therapy early before puberty or like puberty blockers. Yeah. And it makes the world of a difference.
Huge.
Like they are like basically like super passing to the point where it's shocking to hear that they were trans.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then for them, I'm sure that's like quite good for their mental health if they can pass so easily.
Exactly. Well, and it's not only just good for their mental health, it's also easier to integrate into society.
Exactly.
Right?
Because like now they're showing up as the gender that they are.
Which
right?
is, it's just shame that our society's like this, but that's exactly unfortunately the way it is. Like if somebody is passing as a certain gender or whatever, it's going to be easier because they're like, people aren't going to make fun of them, all this kind of stuff. Whereas if it looks like that, you know, there's that guy on, that lady on TikTok.
Oh, the trans. Yeah. The one that keeps saying, "Don't call me sir."
Yeah. She's really cringy though.
Yeah.
But
I
like,
really can't.
you know, unfortunately, like she's not passing. Like she looks like a man dressed in a wig.
Yeah.
But then
literally
also, but also is really rude about it. So I'm like, kind of like,
the thing is like, I understand to some degree that like, obviously like, I don't know what it's like to be trans, but like, you know, I can understand like it must suck if somebody's like calling you sir if you don't want to be called sir. But at the same time, it's like, I hate to say this, but like you got to grow the fuck up a little bit. Like it'd be like, these are people that are irrelevant to your life, first of all. And second of all, it's only human nature to like look at someone and like if they, you know, look like a man, we just assume it's a man and we say there's a man. Like, I'm sorry, like what are we doing here? Are we just lying to ourselves here? Like, I'm not gonna fucking go up to someone that clearly is a man and be like, oh, like, so like, are you know what I mean? Like, are we just lying to ourselves? But at the same time, so again, like, so so that person just annoys the fuck out of me because I'm like, what do you think are you achieving by getting mad at everybody that's on the street? You know, that's just like, and not even on the street, like getting mad at your waitress.
Yeah, for misgendering,
for saying like sir. Yeah. And like, you could probably say, oh, sorry, like I would appreciate if you don't call me sir. Yeah. I can get that. Yeah. But it's like.
But you take it to the next level and you're like, can I talk to your manager?
Like, yeah, can I talk to your manager? Ugh. I'm so upset. It's like, you are just
deliberately doing this, attacking me. And it's like, no.
My God, calm down. And like, people getting so upset at it. It's like, I don't know. Like, again, maybe I just don't understand because I'm not trans. But it's like, if you're that upset at like someone calling you like he or she or whatnot, I don't know, you might need to seek some help because like, how are you getting through life? Things are going to be fucking difficult.
Life is not easy, guys.
Life is not easy. Yeah. And on that positive
note, thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode. If you are watching this video on YouTube, don't forget to hit subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, show us some love in the comment section down below. Leave us a comment. If you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, don't forget to hit that follow. And then you get updated as soon as new episodes go live. And what else, Rose?
And make sure you check us out on Patreon. Join our Patreon family, patreon.com/TheSaVeg Podcast. Once again, you get bonus episodes every single month, exclusive to Patreon members. You get ad-free content, and you get every episode a week earlier than everybody else. So check it out, you guys. And that's basically it. Yeah. We'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.